This is Nate O'Reilly, and today I have a guest here. We're interviewing Jorge Abalo. Hey, go ahead and say hey to everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, hello everyone. Jorge here with from Canada with Avalos Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies. It's my pleasure to be here with you, Nato and Laura. Thank you very
Great
much.
pleasure, absolutely. And we're about to hear a story about how Jorge started building, skills and things that are going to help him build the type of life that he's wanted to build. Now, we've been working, together through like business partnerships for a while now. I'll start by just kind of talking about what's going on with Cloud Underground. Cloud Underground started in 2020. Jorge was actually one of our first customers ever, actually customer number one, who kind of paved the way in our old original way of, we wanted to build a cloud technology. And we were like, well, we're going to build this cloud technology for hosting apps, hosting all kinds of things, kind of like an agnostic portable AWS or cloud or Azure. But we were like, we're going to build one by teaching it. And then we said that we would do this in a 3 year cycle. And so we taught exactly how we were going to build this technology. And then we literally spent 3 years building exactly what we claimed we were going to build. So he's been here for the whole ride, literally from day one, from when we had little tiny developer kits. We were like, okay, well, you have to have some bare metal infrastructure. You can't really build these assets without having the real metal. And then as other people started joining, we were able to release real software. We built even a company made that's called Underground Ops, as a consulting firm that's member made. And if it wasn't for members like Jorge over here, we would not exist and have all of the things that we have. With our services these days, for anyone who's trying to wonder, what do we work with? We work mostly with larger companies who are trying to get engineers, who need people who have really challenging to find skills. So we both bring a workspace pipeline for engineers where they have all their tools, all the resources that they need in one place. And then also we custom fit those resources so that they're able to bring their platform, their tools to then come help your company run more smoothly and help you build whatever is going to help your company grow. Now, if you're not like a large company with, governances and compliances and working with lots of customers, the average customer size that we work with is generally kind of a little more of a mature company, not really a startup. They might be making somewhere over 10 million annual recurring revenue and things like that. But ultimately, this is how we're working on creating jobs. Is one of our goals right now. Is how do we create more jobs? Which, since we built these technologies and we started working on getting larger customers, we're working with Jorge to figure out, how do we build these real jobs, which means that we're going through this very real process of having to figure out how to mentor up or skill up a number of people very quickly to be able to work with these large companies that have lots of engineering demands. So, with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Jorge to talk about his journey from, having ideas, because he actually started a company to start building skills of his own, and has been working to, work toward completing his dream and vision of his own. So, what we started doing is working with partners and other people who build their own firms and consultancies, and then we, run a job board together where we have our trusted partners. It's a very close circle, and right now we are not currently going to bring in additional engineers. We'll be working with some new salespeople if anyone wants to do sales, but we're not going to be working with more engineers right now. It's going to be Jorge and the crew. Meet, one of the leaders of our new engineering stuff. So you met me and you met the Cloud Underground folks, but you have not yet met someone who's very important. So go ahead and take it away. How did you start to decide that you wanted to start building, your own resources and your own kind of, how did you get into business and tech?
Yeah, so basically, I've been doing IT and technologies for over 16 years. I've been based in Canada, Venezuelan by nature. And 4 years ago, when I met you, I was at that point servicing my clients. I have my company providing cybersecurity for some government entities, and I found that something in me was missing. I was like, there is more to it. I would love to get a great team in the first place where we are innovating, making cool features for the software or for the application, trying to make things more the job more enjoyable, more fun. So I found, well, that most people just come and they do a few hours and they leave, and that's it. The job is there. For me, and like I'm always thinking, and like, well, I would love to improve better so I can have more time to leverage new skills. So this then is when I met you over 4 years ago, and then you were talking about all this cloud agnostic and all these new concepts were new to me. Cloud agnostic, what is that? Okay, so it could be a software, it could be an application that could work in any architecture. And then we started mixing up a DevSecOps and cloud agnostic, and now a lot into open source, which I was a newbie. I was taking pen testing courses here and there, hacking here and there. But then the concept open source was thanks to you and cloud native. I was okay. There is another way of doing things out there. It's not something new. It has been for over 10 years. So I thought, well, maybe this is a way for me to get into something new. I see that a lot of companies now they just talk about cloud native and open source. So then over 2 years ago, I got to I was doing my research and learning as usual, and then I discovered blockchain technologies. And I said, well, blockchain looks like they talk about microservices, these Dockers or these peers or nodes that we're talking in the dojo for open source. It's basically the same thing. We need microservices, we need open source for these blockchain networks to work, especially if I was talking about centralized blockchain. So I said, well, if I want to ended up in a job of providing those services and I have no choice just to learn cloud native to the fullest, understand how it harness from the networking to the bare metal to the OS and all these
Yeah.
sockets that you got, Linux, this and that. So I was like, well, I have no choice. So now I'm going to embrace this cloud native technology. I want to mix it up with cloud native blockchain, and then we got AI that also exploded badly. So that's why I say I gotta come out, rebrand myself to be cybersecurity, AI, cloud native, and blockchain technologies. And that's exactly what we're preaching here with my brand, which now I participate with your company too, and I'm really thankful for everything that you're bringing into my life too as well, because I could be that tech guy who understand the networking or the cyber this and that, but I didn't have those business skills, and that's what I'm grasping here with you. Well, how to scale, and also it helps me to be like a visionary for the future, because I think here with us building different things, people into AI in the dojo, people into blockchain, cloud native, no, everyone it plays a big role, and everyone is so important for making new things, a new software, a new idea, something that will solve something out there. So we know that the future is already AI, blockchain is there, cloud native technologies, and that's what I do now. Now, because I did technology for so many years on my own, now I decide now when I help others, I want to embrace these people, and I want to basically build these entrepreneurs with cloud underground and helping to get whatever I know, whatever I learned from you, to basically do the knowledge transfer to new entrepreneurs, new technologies, new business people too, because you don't have to be a techie person to join our community. You could be an investor, you could be anything. The only thing you gotta
Oh,
do is to
that's a good point.
participate, embrace with us, and then we go from there. We show you the frameworks that Cloud Underground have built in the last few months and years of work. We show you the different ideas you can have to how to build these custom sandboxes, cloud agnostic sandboxes for providing a service, uh, even if you're building new skills. So for me, for example, if I want to go for a job, it's so easy for me to sell myself because I'm able to talk technology at any level, right? Not the business part, just like
Oh,
NATO
that's
and his experience does, but it helps me to basically say, okay, cloud agnostic, data lake houses, this, and people is like, what this concept, what this person is talking about, like
yeah, because it's
this.
people too. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And I mean, you. So one thing that you've also shown is like there's some creativity behind it because I remember when you were first learning how to set up the networking and get other users connected to things, you had a way of getting others to also see that they could make something possible, and they're like, oh, wow, I can connect to this thing, and then they're asking, uh, could we use Visual Studio Code with this? And they start having all these other questions. And so, as Jorge mentioned, it's something that a lot of folks kind of miss is sure learning the tech is one thing, but it's also about the people. And some people are going to be a lot better at the coding, some people are going to be a lot better at the business. But if you can't have a mix of everything, someone's got to make sure that things are getting sold, someone's got to bring community together and help train and educate. What are some of the things that you feel like kind of brought those leadership aspects out of you? Because even though you can definitely do the technical, you also have this way of helping other people realize that they can do it too. Where did that come from?
Well, I would say it came with over 2 years ago when basically I went into the mainstream online, just talking about crypto, blockchain technology, and all that. And then I started having companies in Canada reaching out. I said, listen, I got my Web 2 application that I would love to build in this new internet you're talking about, where it's Solana or Ethereum. So I said, okay, looks like now I have some skills. Now I bring companies to me, right? Because I just put my face out there, which for me was something new that I never experienced before, of having that attention for companies, or companies trying to basically put money down because they trust you, because you're in Canada and you know what you're talking about, you understand the technologies. They're old fashioned, old tech. They're trying to go into the new technologies, and they were just willing to say, "Tell, send me the bill, send me the invoice, and we get this going." And I'm like, okay, I got companies now that when I migrate, they
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
that
absolutely.
I can speak cybersecurity, I can speak frameworks, I could speak compliance, and then they're trying to do stuff that don't basically have the compliance in place yet, but I'm the one who is helping them to get information that they need. So I was like, okay, the money's
Yeah, yeah.
coming, companies are reaching out. What do I need now? Well, I need developers, right? I need the developers. And then is when I say, well, I see that most developers, they're just thinking about a job. I was like, well, but maybe they
Mm,
don't know that they can actually make extra cash working together. Building, one person will be the UI experience or super expert, the other person will be the blockchain, the other person will be the smart contract. And then I say, well, but we also need to host all these peers and containers into some environment too. So we need still the cloud native people. We need the new people on Web 3. We need, and then I started connecting the dots, and I say, well, I see that most people are asleep. The opportunities are there. The cash is there. It's just who is willing to make it work and showcase what we're trying to build first. So I noticed that willingness of trying to build for free on your own time, that investment that you're doing, it's the easiest way that you could do for you to raise up and keep going up. So
Time is money. Yeah, it's an investment. Yeah.
so I say now I have the developers, they all want money at front. So these people are overseas, I don't know their skills. So what about if I help people to start basically learning a little bit of sales, a little bit of community communication, and opening up their mind to be sole entrepreneurs, or even have maybe one day a big enterprise. So then I just got so excited to basically push people. I say, listen, you could do this, you could do that. Look at the ideas that I have. You could build this, not just in the technical aspect, but in many other ways. I say I want to do a knowledge transfer, and then I started having one student that signed up, my first student last year. I was like, well, he actually works. He actually encouraged people to do technology, to do work, and to engage. Because the moment you disconnect from the computer, like I said before, I did technology for so many years, and it was a big mistake. So now I want to tell them that if you work as a team, how we do it here, how we communicate, how we share what's new, you don't stay behind with. Maybe you may not be doing the tech itself, but if you're listening to concepts that are totally new and people is talking about it in the group, you will be able to always be on top of technology, even if you don't know the technical
Yeah,
keys, this and that.
very true.
So
It moves so fast too, and especially with AI these days, in a lot of ways, what makes things special is like your amount of creativity and things that you can come up with. Because, uh, you know, in the past, everyone had to kind of you had Google, so you could still Google things. But now, I mean, you can get little tiny like corners of a man. If only I could figure out how to make a Python script that would do just this little tiny task here. And maybe it's hard to have an entire software application built with AI. It's kind of this new era where if your mind can kind of put things together, and then you can bring different people with their different creativity together, then one person's mind comes up with one tiny little corner here, and it kind of really takes a whole community, where if you can bring a bunch of people together who have unique skills. And honestly, that's also what built our platform too, because folks like you and others came in with their questions until we had this underground nexus platform that now all of us are able to use and make a living from. And then also scale our own business by helping larger companies who've already gone through that scaling process. It's just really interesting seeing how we've been able to uh, see what kinds of possibilities come out there just by making community open source, where everyone who's contributed to the underground nexus and agreed that that could be used for open source, now there's this huge open source thing that's only going to continue to grow. And of course, we're not the only open source folks out there. When you first started seeing all the I guess cloud native, because there's that cloud native landscape, did you even realize there were that many companies out there that make all this open source?
No, I didn't know. And the funny thing is that most of these basically main code sometimes used by other companies, vendor companies.
Yeah.
They lock their license, they do their stuff in the background. But I didn't know, like, okay, so if people have a hard time trying to get, I don't know, access to, let's say, Palo Alto, Fortinet University, because they're not a vendor, they don't have $10,000 down. Because that's what I saw in the past. In the past,
Yeah.
for you to be a partner, you need to put money down for you to have access to the university, buy some equipment or some licenses. I said, well, with open source, people can just, okay, I want to implement my own VPN solution. So people don't
Yes.
have a roadblock anymore there. You can go and grab millions of open source solutions out there for SSL VPN solution and implement it. Done. You want this, is that there. Anything you were looking for from the vendor enterprise um, were out there, you were able to
Yeah.
find it,
So
and a lot more in open source. And now we know that open source is becoming such huge now, especially with AI. People start bringing different libraries and codes out there. So open source is giving us a room for us to expand, and for engineers or entrepreneurs or people with brilliant minds to basically showcase what's coming. Because I think the
yeah.
future is people who wants to innovate, learn, be competitive, and those are the people who's gonna be in the spotlight. In the past, we got a lot of people that were superstars in their company, but they were hidden in the background. Well, things are about to change drastically now, because
Yeah.
if you can bring savings, if you can bring a scaled system and make it more secure, and just talk IT or computer technology in general, this is the place to be.
It's such a thing. Like it's so powerful how open source really does open so many doors these days, especially you normally have to have all these millions of dollars worth of budget, and just a lot of these open source companies are already funded themselves. They have a full team working on whatever they're supporting. And then if someone's not heard of the cloud native landscape, then Google cloud native landscape and your mind will be blown, because there are hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars poured into making these open source technologies just available for any old person to be able to use these supported technologies. So if you're trying to build your own resources, now, of course, there becomes a problem, all these open source tools, if you have time, then that can be a way to make it work. And so part of what we're doing is, one of the things that Jorge is helping out with is building out a mentorship program where we're going to help people learn how, how can, if all you have is time, or what you mostly have is time, and you want to try to build your own resources and assets, or have the types of skills that help us do the types of things that we do, you'll want to ask him about how he got to doing what he's doing these days. And then on our end, now that we've built the technology, the cloud underground team, myself and the other folks who are built the cloud technology that we worked on, we are trying to find uh, if you are a company who needs the type of engineering skill sets that we're able to help companies have, we are now building out these job boards that are going to make it easier for you and your large organization to get talent that's sort of hard to get. And then we're working with making sure that the right people have the right skills. We actually accomplished that with, there's so many options in the cloud native landscape that it's just like option overload. And it's just kind of overwhelming and be like, well, where do I even start? So we've actually created a unique Forge service where we have someone who comes and spends time directly with your company to really understand your business and your business's needs. Because, if you've been a company, maybe you've got like thousands of employees at this point, or at least hundreds, it can be hard to figure out, how are you going to keep all of that organized. So you can actually talk to someone like Jorge who's going to help you figure out, like, okay, well, maybe we do need to get some workspace environments for 1,000 different individuals. We don't even know where to start. Where we can basically work with you to then forge things that are going to work specifically for the roles that your company needs to succeed. Especially if you have like a DevOps pipeline, you're trying to improve your company's security, any of these types of things. And then, even we started by teaching the skills that allowed us to build these technologies, and that created people like Jorge who can even build his own solutions, build his own communities, because our skills give people the freedom to do what you want to do with the skills, but then that also includes being able to work with some of these really advanced companies. And then also some large companies wonder, how do you get that type of talent? How do you get folks who can really make these types of things exist? With that being said, we've talked about a lot of the things that we're going to be having more content about this, and this won't be the last time that you'll see us both. I want to say, what are some of your closing thoughts, Jorge, on, what do you think that companies can do to better attract some stronger talent when, it's really hard to find good engineers. We saw these layoffs, and some employees are like, well, I was doing my best and I got laid off. And then business owners are like, well, I'm scared. I don't know how to find good talent. What might be some of your recommendations for a business? And then for people who are trying to be that talent for businesses, who are trying to get those skills, what are your thoughts for helping them get into those jobs? What do you think?
Yeah, so for enterprise and big businesses out there, my suggestion or my opinion, because I've been in so many companies out there as a job and also providing services, most people know VMware, most people know vCenter, most people know NSXT. Okay, we know these frameworks, these vendors, awesome, great, right? But how many of those people's in the corporate, right, enterprise business do actually talk about cloud native, right? Know a lot. So if you're looking for candidates or people who's trying to actually um, take you to the next level, because right now, for example, I'm just gonna give a quick example. My car use cloud native technologies. My car also have AI, right? So if
Yeah.
a lot of companies out there are moving towards AI, blockchain, and cloud native technologies, and this is something that you don't hear in your company, because if you're doing AI, well, there's a big topic, many topics about AI. Where are you gonna build this? In a centralized Azure, AWS? Are you gonna have it in house, where all the information is protected locally with your whatever you're trying to do? So if you're looking for people who wants to basically protect you from A to B, and the whole DevOps and the pipeline for how the code move from point A to point B until it gets pushed to production, hey, I think cloud native people, people who want to talk about advanced topics and being ahead of the game, that would be the people that you should be looking for. So um,
You got someone to ask a question in the audience, Jorge. So a question about, do we expect to be adding generative AI? And so, as Jorge knows, in the back end, in our community in the DevSecOps Dojo, you can always come in and see what we're working on and what we're doing. And we've actually been doing quite a lot with AI because that is such a big thing that's coming in. One thing that we are doing as we're making some new revamps to our platform and to our technology is we're going to try to make it easier for folks to work with, where we're going to have ways for AI to build the types of data center architectures for people. That's one thing that we're working on. And then also, we've already started making everything work with AI powered hardware. Like that includes neural cores and accelerating GPU, things like that, for anyone who wants to do self hosted AI. And then we also create a way for you to abstract AI calculations. So if you have a graphics card in a data center that's far, far away, and you want to use basically accelerate its ability to work in a self hosted location somewhere else, going to be making it so that you can accelerate AI hardware across regions and things like that. So that's something that's already beginning to work. I'm actually using one of our little AI integrated prototypes right now. So you might notice that my camera sometimes moves a little bit. It's because even in this hardware that I'm testing, it tries to keep my framing for me using AI. So we've been doing a lot of little random things like that. I don't know if you can tell, but it technically keeps my eye contact. It's actually super creepy. I wonder if if I can get it to like not make my eyes look right at the camera.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, see, they're always there. They're always there.
so it's a little creepy a little bit, but yes. So lots of AI, everything's coming. Really appreciate you being here, Jorge. And then I guess I know that you just said a final closing thing, but what I guess what would be your answer to your thoughts on AI being integrated into things, and then we'll go ahead and hop off here.
Yeah, so basically AI is helping us to scale way faster. It's helping us to automate things too because you have IAC infrastructure as code out there, but now with AI, it's another level. So maybe you can
Yeah.
just give a nice quick prompt and say, build me this sandbox to be cloud agnostic that will allow me 20 developers to interact with any web browser out there and collaborate and work together and secure the pipeline and push it to production and much more. So now we have the ability, the way to do that in ways that we never imagined before. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business, come to us. We can give you advice. We can give you some coaching, and we go from there. But AI, blockchain, quantum computing, cloud native technologies is pretty much everything today.
Yeah, that's right. So, thanks everyone who's watched, and we'll be around again. So there will be some follow up content from us, and appreciate you taking the time to do all of this with us, Jorge. So this is just the beginning, everyone. So
Thank you
lots to
for
come.
hosting. Thank you for hosting.